There comes a moment in life when you realize that your energy is too precious to be spent on people who don't value it. You begin to see that every time you chase approval, every time you compare yourself, every time you wait for someone else to see your worth, you drift further away from your own peace. Today, I want you to come home to yourself, to withdraw your attention from the noise of others and turn inward, where your true power lives. Your energy is the most sacred and powerful currency you possess. It's not your money, your looks, or your achievements that define the quality of your life. It's your energy. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every emotion you allow into your space is an exchange of that energy. When you begin to understand this truth, you start treating your energy like gold. You stop wasting it on people who drain you, situations that don't serve you, and habits that lower your vibration. Every day you wake up with a limited amount of energetic power, like a spiritual battery. What you choose to focus on determines how that power is spent. When you pour it into gossip, negativity, or trying to change others, you are leaking energy. But when you use it to nurture yourself, to grow, to forgive, to heal, you are investing in your own light. Your energy responds to where you place your attention. Whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on lack, you experience more lack. If you focus on love, you experience more love. If you focus on peace, peace multiplies. When you focus too much on what others are doing, who they're dating, what they're saying about you, or whether they approve of you, you're unconsciously giving them access to your inner power. You're saying, you decide how I feel today. And that is one of the greatest ways we lose our magic. The truth is, no one should have that kind of control over your emotional state. The moment you reclaim that control, you begin to feel lighter, freer, and more centered within yourself. Start noticing what drains you. There are conversations that leave you feeling empty, people who carry chaos everywhere they go, environments that make you question your worth. You don't have to fight those things. You simply have to stop feeding them your energy. You can step back with grace. You can choose silence instead of reaction, calm instead of chaos, peace instead of proving a point. Every time you choose yourself, you send a message to the universe that your energy is sacred, and the universe begins to respond accordingly. You were not born to be everything for everyone. You were born to be the fullest, truest expression of yourself. When you constantly give to others without refilling your own cup, you end up feeling resentful and exhausted. You are not selfish for wanting to protect your energy. You are wise. You understand that to shine brightly, you must keep your inner flame alive. Protecting your energy doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. It means being aware of what deserves your attention and what doesn't. It's about being intentional with your time, your emotions, and your focus. There will be moments when people misunderstand your silence. They'll think you've changed, and that's perfectly okay. Growth often looks like distance to those who benefited from your lack of boundaries. But you're not meant to stay small to make others comfortable. You're meant to evolve, to rise, to protect the light that's within you. When you begin to honor that light, you'll notice that certain things stop bothering you. Words that once hurt no longer affect you. People who used to trigger you lose their power. That's what happens when you stop handing your energy over to everything that tries to pull you off center. Remember that your energy sets the tone for your life. When your energy is peaceful, your world begins to reflect peace. When your energy is loving, your relationships become softer and more harmonious. When your energy is focused, opportunities begin to align effortlessly. You don't have to chase anything. Your vibration does the attracting for you. That's why it's so important to take time each day to return to yourself. Sit in silence, breathe deeply, speak kindly to yourself. Let go of thoughts that make you feel small. These are not just spiritual practices, they are energetic hygiene. Imagine your energy as a beautiful garden. Whatever you plant there grows. If you plant seeds of fear, doubt, and comparison, they'll take root and overshadow your peace. But if you plant seeds of gratitude, love, and confidence, your life will begin to bloom in ways you never thought possible. The secret is consistency. The more often you choose to nurture your inner world, the stronger your energy becomes. Every time you stop over-explaining yourself, you're saving energy. Every time you walk away from drama, you're protecting your peace. Every time you say no to something that doesn't align, you're declaring your worth. This is how you take your power back, through small, intentional choices that honor your spirit. You don't need to announce your boundaries. You don't need to explain your healing. Your energy will speak for itself. When your energy is sacred, your presence becomes magnetic. You attract people and opportunities that match your vibration. You stop forcing and start allowing. Life begins to flow with ease because you're no longer fighting against it. You're no longer trying to convince anyone of your value. You know it, and that knowing radiates from you. The universe always mirrors back the energy you hold. So if you want to attract peace, become peaceful. If you want to attract love, become loving. If you want to attract success, align your energy with confidence and gratitude. There will be days when your energy feels low, and that's okay too. Rest is part of the process. Healing doesn't always look productive. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to pause, to recharge, to be gentle with yourself. Your energy will naturally rise again when you stop forcing and start trusting. So begin today by saying to yourself, my energy is sacred. I choose to protect it. I choose to invest it only where it grows me. The more you repeat this truth, the more you begin to live it. And soon, your world will start to reflect that inner choice. Your peace will deepen, your confidence will grow, and your spirit will thank you for finally coming home to yourself. You can't heal by watching someone else's journey. Healing is not a performance. It's not something you can copy, compare, or rush because you saw someone else do it faster. Healing is deeply personal. It belongs to you and only you. Every soul walks through its own lessons, and what breaks one person open may not touch another in the same way. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to learn, grow, and evolve in your own divine timing. In a world that constantly shows you other people's highlight reels, it's easy to think you're doing something wrong. You scroll through lives that seem perfect, peaceful, healed, and whole, and you start believing that you should already be there too. But what you don't see are the nights they cried themselves to sleep, the moments of doubt they fought through, or the quiet inner battles they faced when no one was watching. Healing doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens in silence, in the private moments when you choose not to give up on yourself. Your journey will not look like anyone else's, and it's not meant to. You are a unique expression of the universe with your own story, your own lessons, and your own timing. Comparing yourself to someone else is like comparing the moon to the sun. They both shine, but in their own time and in their own way. The universe never rushes what's meant to unfold beautifully. Flowers bloom in different seasons. Rivers carve their own paths to the sea. You too are unfolding exactly as you're meant to. When you focus too much on someone else's healing, you lose touch with your own. You begin to absorb their rhythm instead of listening to your own. You start to believe that there's a single formula for peace, a single path to transformation. But there isn't. Healing is not linear. It moves in spirals, sometimes backward before forward. Some days you'll feel strong and radiant. Other days you'll feel fragile and lost. And both are sacred. Both are part of the process. There is beauty in your pain because it's leading you back to your truth. Every tear you shed is cleansing a wound. Every setback is redirecting you. Every moment of doubt is teaching you faith. The more you try to imitate someone else's healing, the further you drift from your own. You can be inspired by others, yes, but never think their way is the only way. You have your own wisdom within you, your own light that knows exactly how to guide you toward wholeness. You don't need to seek outside of yourself for what already lives within. Healing requires patience. It asks you to sit with yourself, to listen to the whispers of your heart, and to trust that even when it hurts, you're being reshaped into something stronger and more loving. When you look at others and think, why haven't I healed yet? Remind yourself that healing is not a race. It's a sacred unfolding. You are being refined by life, not punished by it. Every painful experience you've endured is shaping your strength. expanding your compassion and preparing you for the next chapter of your becoming. There will be times when you feel stuck, and it may seem like everyone else is moving forward while you stand still, but stillness is not failure. Sometimes stillness is the most important part of healing. It's the moment your soul catches up with your body, the moment your spirit integrates the lessons it's learned. The universe pauses you not to punish you, but to prepare you. Every delay, every detour, every quiet season has a purpose. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that even your pauses were progress. You can't heal through comparison because comparison breeds shame. Shame says, I'm not enough yet. Healing, on the other hand, whispers, I am becoming whole even now. The energy of comparison keeps you chasing validation instead of inner peace. It keeps you stuck in a loop of not enoughness, when the truth is you were always enough. Healing is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you otherwise. When you stop looking at others and turn inward, something magical happens. You begin to hear your own truth again. You start recognizing what your body needs, what your soul craves, what your heart is ready to release. You learn to love your scars, not as reminders of pain, but as proof of survival. You start to understand that healing doesn't always mean happiness. It means honesty. It means allowing yourself to feel without judgment, to grieve without guilt, and to rebuild at your own pace. There will be people who seem ahead of you, but that doesn't mean they're happier. Healing looks different on everyone. Some heal loudly, sharing every breakthrough. Others heal quietly, holding their growth close like a secret prayer. Some return to joy quickly. Others walk through long valleys of sadness before seeing the light. Both are valid. Both are worthy. You never know what someone has walked through to reach where they are today. That's why compassion is so important, both for others and for yourself. So if you find yourself comparing your journey, take a deep breath and come back home to yourself. Remind yourself that you are on your own timeline, guided by a divine intelligence that knows exactly what you need. You don't have to rush, compete, or prove anything. The healing that is meant for you cannot miss you. It will come in waves, in whispers, in unexpected moments of grace. Trust it. Let your journey be yours. Let it be real. Let it be slow if it needs to be. You are not late. You are right on time. You are learning, growing, and becoming more aligned with your truth every day. The light you seek in others already burns within you. The love you envy in others already lives in your own heart. All you have to do is return to yourself. And when you do, you'll realize that the comparison was never needed. The race was never real. The only person you ever needed to be better than was the version of yourself who doubted your strength. You can't heal by watching someone else's journey because your soul came here to walk its own sacred path. And that path, no matter how winding or slow, will always lead you home, to peace, to purpose, and to yourself. The power of detachment is one of the greatest forms of freedom you can ever experience. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you become cold, heartless, or indifferent. It means you finally understand that your peace no longer depends on the behavior or approval of others. It means you can love without clinging, give without expecting, and walk away without breaking. It is the art of trusting that what is meant for you will never require you to lose yourself to keep it. When you live attached to outcomes, people, or situations, you live in constant anxiety. You keep trying to control everything because you fear that if you let go, things will fall apart. But the truth is, life begins to flow only when you release your grip. The tighter you hold on to something, the more resistance you create. The more you try to control how others feel about you, the more disconnected you become from your own peace. Detachment allows you to breathe again. It opens space for trust, for surrender, and for grace. When you detach, you don't stop loving, you love more purely. You stop loving from fear and start loving from freedom. You no longer love because you need someone to complete you. You love because you're already complete. You no longer give to prove your worth. You give because it feels good to your soul. That is the difference between attachment and connection. Attachment says, I need you to make me happy. Connection says, I share my happiness with you. Detachment also means learning to let go of the stories your mind creates. How often do you suffer not because of what's happening, but because of what you think it means? You overthink, you replay conversations, you imagine outcomes that haven't even happened. The mind attaches to pain, to labels, to interpretations, and then wonders why peace feels so far away. When you detach, you stop identifying with those stories. You remind yourself that thoughts are temporary visitors, not truths. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness observing them. The power of detachment begins with trust, trusting that the universe knows what it's doing, even when you don't understand it. It's realizing that everything that leaves your life creates space for something better to enter. You stop chasing what isn't aligning, and you begin to align with what's naturally flowing towards you. The things that fall away were never meant to stay forever. They served a purpose. Detachment allows you to thank them for their role and release them without resentment. You can detach from people you love without anger. You can detach from dreams that no longer fit your spirit without regret. Detachment doesn't mean loss. It means alignment. It's saying, I trust that what's for me will always find its way back to me. When you reach that level of inner calm, you become unshakable. External chaos can swirl around you, but within you there is stillness. You no longer react from fear. You respond from wisdom. So much suffering in life comes from resistance, wanting things to be different than they are. We hold on to relationships that have expired, jobs that drain our souls, or expectations that keep us small. We tell ourselves stories like, if I let go, I'll have nothing. But the truth is, letting go is how you make room for everything you've been praying for. You can't receive new blessings while clinging to old burdens. Detachment is not loss. It's preparation. It's the spiritual space that allows miracles to move freely. When you begin to practice detachment, you'll notice how peaceful life becomes. Things that once triggered you lose their power. People who once drained your energy can no longer control your emotions. You stop seeking validation because you've found peace within yourself. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone. You simply live, love, and allow. You begin to understand that everything in this universe is temporary. Every experience, every relationship, every emotion. And because you understand that, you can enjoy things deeply without fearing their end. Detachment doesn't make you emotionless. It makes you emotionally intelligent. You learn to witness your feelings instead of being ruled by them. You can feel love, pain, joy, or sadness fully without drowning in them. You become aware that emotions are waves, and you are the ocean. They rise, they fall, but they never define you. When you live detached, you don't suppress emotions, you honor them, then release them. You understand that clinging to anything, pain, pleasure, love, or loss, creates suffering. Letting go creates freedom. The power of detachment transforms your relationships. You stop expecting people to fulfill roles they never promised to play. You stop begging for love that doesn't flow naturally. You stop trying to fix others because you realize that healing is a personal responsibility. Detachment teaches you to love people as they are, not as you wish they would be. You can care deeply, but you no longer carry the weight of trying to change or control. That's true love. Allowing others the freedom to be themselves while keeping your peace intact. Sometimes the hardest detachment is from who you used to be. You may have to release the version of yourself that tolerated too much, doubted too often, or lived in fear. You have to detach from old identities to make space for your evolution. Growth often requires letting go of the comfort of the familiar. The mind may resist because it fears the unknown, but the soul always knows when it's time to rise higher. Detachment is the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. The more you practice detachment, the more aligned you become with the flow of life. You stop forcing outcomes, and life begins to move in harmony with you. Opportunities appear without struggle. Love comes without chasing. Peace settles without trying. You become like water, flexible, calm, and powerful. You learn that peace doesn't come from controlling your surroundings. It comes from mastering your response to them. So take a deep breath and loosen your grip on what you've been holding so tightly. You don't have to chase, beg, or force anything. What's meant for you cannot pass you by. The universe doesn't take from you. It replaces, it redirects, it refines, Trust that everything you release will return in a form that's even better suited for your soul. Detachment is not the absence of love. It is the presence of peace. It is the realization that your happiness is not dependent on anything outside of you. When you embody that truth, you become untouchable. You no longer seek control. You live in trust. You no longer fear endings. You welcome beginnings. You no longer chase. You attract. And that is the quiet, unstoppable power of detachment. There comes a time in life when you realize that the answers you've been searching for in the world around you have been inside you all along. You've looked for validation in others' eyes, chased peace through external success, and sought love from people who were never capable of giving it to you in the way you needed. Yet every time the outside world disappointed you, it wasn't punishment. It was a gentle redirection back to yourself. The truth is, nothing outside of you can give you what you haven't yet given to yourself. To truly find peace, clarity, and strength, you must turn your attention inward. Turning inward means making yourself the center of your awareness again. It means pausing the endless noise of comparison, opinions, and expectations. The world constantly pulls your attention outward toward achievements, validation, and appearances. But the soul doesn't grow in the noise. It grows in the stillness. When you turn inward, you begin to listen to the whispers of your intuition, the gentle voice that's been speaking beneath the chaos all along. That voice doesn't shout. It waits patiently for you to be quiet enough to hear it. So many people feel lost because they're disconnected from themselves. They become so busy trying to be everything for everyone that they forget who they are. When the world goes silent, they live in reaction to life instead of creation. But when you turn your attention inward, you begin to reclaim your own energy. You stop living on autopilot and start living intentionally. You become aware of your thoughts, your emotions, and your inner patterns. You realize that peace isn't something you chase. It's something you cultivate from within. When you begin this inward journey, you may at first feel uncomfortable. You'll start noticing emotions you've been avoiding. Fear, anger, sadness, guilt. The mind will try to distract you because it's not used to stillness. But those emotions aren't there to hurt you. They're there to heal you. They've been waiting to be acknowledged, waiting for you to stop running. When you sit with your feelings without judgment, you give them permission to release their grip on you. Healing happens when you allow yourself to feel. Turning your attention inward is also about learning to trust yourself again. Somewhere along the way, you stopped believing in your own wisdom. You started seeking answers from others, asking for opinions, advice, and validation, forgetting that your intuition has always known the way. The inner voice doesn't operate through logic. It speaks through feeling, through resonance. When something is right for you, your whole being feels at peace. When something isn't, your body feels tense. The more you listen to this inner guidance, the more confident and grounded you become. You'll start to notice that external validation begins to lose its power. The compliments, the likes, the approval, all the things that once fed your self-worth will no longer hold you captive. You'll realize that your value was never meant to be determined by anyone else. It's inherent, unchanging, and rooted in your being. Turning inward means recognizing that you are already enough, that you have nothing to prove, and that peace is your natural state. The world might not always reflect that truth, but your inner self will remind you of it every time you return to silence. This inward focus also transforms how you relate to others. When you're disconnected from yourself, you tend to project your pain outward. You look for others to complete you, to save you, to fill the emptiness. But when you reconnect with your own soul, you stop expecting others to do what only you can do for yourself. You begin to love from wholeness instead of need. You stop chasing relationships and start attracting them naturally. You no longer beg for attention because you become your own source of love. You no longer fear being alone, because solitude becomes your sanctuary, not your punishment. Turning your attention inward also helps you recognize the stories your mind tells you. The mind loves to dwell on the past or worry about the future, keeping you trapped in fear or regret. But when you bring your attention back to the present moment, back to your breath, your body, your awareness, You return to peace. The present moment is your point of power. It's the only place where healing, creation, and transformation truly occur. Every time you choose presence over distraction, you reclaim a piece of your energy from the chaos of the world. The more you practice turning inward, the more you begin to sense the divine intelligence guiding your life. You start to see how everything, every challenge, every heartbreak, every delay was orchestrated to bring you closer to yourself. You begin to understand that what you once saw as losses were actually invitations to grow. You develop faith not as a belief, but as a knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. This kind of inner awareness brings deep peace, the kind that nothing external can shake. When you live connected to your inner self, you move differently. You speak with clarity, act with confidence, and radiate calmness. You stop reacting impulsively because you're grounded in your truth. You start making choices not from fear, but from alignment. People around you feel your energy shift. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer force, you flow. Life begins to mirror your inner state because the outer world always reflects the inner one. It's important to remember that turning inward is not something you do once. It's a daily practice. It's a return again and again to your center. Some days you'll feel aligned and peaceful. Other days you'll feel distracted and lost. That's okay. The journey inward is not about perfection. It's about awareness. The more you practice self-awareness, the faster you catch yourself when your attention drifts outward. You simply breathe, release, and return home to yourself. So start now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel your own presence. Feel your heart beating, your body breathing, your soul existing. That's you. That's where peace lives. That's where love begins. Every time you turn inward, you reconnect with the source of your power. And from that space, life unfolds beautifully. Not because the world changed, but because you found the courage to stop searching outside and start trusting within. And that, more than anything, is where true healing, clarity, and peace are born. Protect your peace like it's gold, because it truly is in a world that constantly demands your attention, energy, and emotions. Your peace is the rarest treasure you possess. It is not something that others can give or take away from you unless you allow it. Peace is your natural state, a sacred space within you where you are calm, whole, and connected to your higher self. When you learn to protect this space, you stop letting the noise of the world dictate your emotions. You begin to live intentionally, choosing what deserves your time and what no longer does. So many people give away their peace without even realizing it. They hand it over to stress, to toxic people, to the opinions of others, to the endless noise of comparison. They let others' moods control their own. They react to every situation, every word, every disappointment. But you were not born to live in constant reaction. You were born to live in creation, to consciously choose how you feel, how you respond, and what you give your heart to. Protecting your peace means learning to pause before reacting, to breathe before speaking, and to let silence be your strength. There will always be people who try to pull you into chaos, some knowingly, others without awareness. They might test your patience, provoke your emotions, or bring negativity into your space. But you must remember, you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to respond to every message that drains your energy. You don't have to fix every situation or prove your worth to anyone. Peace is not found by controlling everything outside of you, but by mastering what's within you. When you stop trying to manage every storm and instead anchor yourself in calmness, the storms lose their power. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It's sacred. You cannot pour from an empty cup. When you constantly give and never restore, you lose your light. You begin to feel exhausted, resentful, disconnected. But when you set boundaries and honor them, you create a shield around your soul. You tell the world, my peace matters. You start to say no without guilt, yes without fear, and walk away without regret. You learn that silence can be more powerful than confrontation. Distance can be more healing than explanation, and solitude can be more fulfilling than forced connections. There is a quiet strength that comes from being unbothered, When you stop allowing little things to shake you, your energy shifts. You start to glow differently. People feel it. Life begins to respond differently to you because you are no longer vibrating in chaos. You are vibrating in calmness, in power, and divine trust. Protecting your peace means knowing that not everything deserves your reaction. Some things are simply not worth disturbing your inner world for. You realize that you can acknowledge what's happening without absorbing it. You can observe without internalizing. That is emotional mastery. That is self-love in its highest form. You protect your peace when you stop explaining your worth, when you stop chasing people who don't value your presence, when you stop justifying your choices to those who will never understand your path. You owe no one an explanation for choosing peace over drama, for choosing stillness over noise, for choosing healing over proving yourself. The more you detach from external validation, the more peaceful you become. The approval you once sought from others begins to fade, and you start finding that approval within yourself. You begin to say, I am enough as I am. Protecting your peace also means protecting what you consume, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, what you listen to, what you watch, what conversations you entertain. All of these influence your energy. Fill your space with beauty, with words that uplift, with people who honor your spirit. Be mindful of the energy you allow in. Peace cannot coexist with constant negativity, so be intentional about what you feed your mind and heart. You'll notice that when you start valuing peace, certain things will naturally fall away. The need to argue, the urge to prove, the desire to always be right, the pull to fix everyone. You start to find joy in quiet moments, in solitude, in stillness, in simplicity. You realize that happiness doesn't come from external success, but from inner harmony. That's the beauty of peace. It simplifies everything. It turns chaos into clarity and fear into faith. There is immense power in protecting your peace. Because peace attracts miracles, it aligns you with higher energy, where solutions flow naturally and intuition becomes clear. When you live in peace, you become magnetic. People sense your calmness, your centeredness, your grace. You no longer chase because what's meant for you is drawn to that frequency of serenity. So guard your peace fiercely. Walk away from anything that costs you it, even if it looks familiar, even if it once felt safe. Don't apologize for needing space, for saying no, for setting limits. You are not meant to be available to everything and everyone. You are meant to protect your energy, your heart, your mind, because peace is the foundation for everything you desire. Success, love, abundance, happiness, all of it grows from a peaceful mind. Every morning, remind yourself, my peace is my priority. Every night, release anything that disturbed it. You are not here to carry everyone's burdens. You are here to live in alignment with your truth. Let peace be your guide, your compass, your standard. And as you protect it, you will notice how beautifully your life transforms. Because when your soul is at peace, everything else naturally falls into place. Become the person you seek. Every desire, every longing, every wish you hold in your heart is a mirror of something that already exists within you, waiting to be awakened. We often look outside of ourselves for what we believe we are missing. Love, security, confidence, validation, peace. But the truth is, everything we are searching for in another person or in the world already lives inside of us. The problem is not that we are lacking, it's that we have forgotten our wholeness. The moment you begin to embody the qualities you desire, the universe begins to mirror them back to you effortlessly. So often people they wait for someone to love them before they love themselves. They wait for success before they feel worthy. They wait for life to get better before they decide to be happy. But waiting only creates more waiting. You cannot attract from a place of lack. You can only attract from a place of being. If you want love, become love. If you want peace, live peacefully. If you want respect, carry yourself with self-respect. The energy you radiate is the energy that will return to you. You become magnetic when you embody the frequency of what you desire, not when you chase it. Becoming the person you seek is about shifting your focus inward. It is about taking responsibility for your energy, your thoughts, and your emotions. Instead of saying, I'll feel happy when they love me, you begin to affirm, I am already whole, I am already loved, I am already enough. When you operate from that truth, you stop needing others to complete you. You stop giving away your power. You start to understand that relationships, opportunities, and blessings are extensions of your self-worth, not replacements for it. It's easy to want someone who makes you feel special. But true transformation happens when you become someone who makes yourself feel special. When you nurture your own heart, care for your own needs, and honor your own boundaries, you rise into alignment with the person you've always wanted to be. You stop searching for completion and begin radiating it. You start attracting people who match that energy, those who are whole within themselves, not those who are looking for someone to fill their emptiness. Every great change begins within. When you change your inner world, your outer world has no choice but to shift. Becoming the person you seek means healing what you've been avoiding. It means letting go of old stories that tell you you're not enough, that love is scarce, that happiness is something you must earn. It's realizing that the love you crave from another is the same love you are meant to give to yourself. The peace you want to find in someone's arms is the peace you create in your own presence. Imagine for a moment the kind of person you wish to have in your life. Kind, grounded, honest, patient, loving, successful, secure. Now ask yourself, do I embody those same qualities? Do I treat myself with that same gentleness and respect? The universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. And what you are is determined by what you practice every day. Your habits, your thoughts, your self-talk, your energy. When you live as the person you seek, you begin to vibrate at the same frequency as your desires. That is when everything you've been waiting for begins to appear naturally. Becoming that person also means being comfortable with solitude. Growth happens in quiet spaces, in moments where you're alone with your thoughts, where you confront your fears and face your truth. It's in those moments that you stop seeking distractions and start creating alignment. The more you connect with yourself, the less you chase what's fleeting, you realize that peace is not found in others, it's built within. That's when you stop settling for temporary comfort and start pursuing authentic wholeness. The person you seek is not perfect, and neither are you meant to be. Becoming them means embracing your imperfections with love, understanding that growth is not about fixing yourself, but remembering your true essence. You are not broken. You are evolving. Every experience, every heartbreak, every challenge has been sculpting you into the version of yourself you were always meant to become. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Begin to ask, what is this teaching me about who I am becoming? When you become the person you seek, life feels lighter. You stop needing approval. You stop craving attention. You stop fearing loss. You no longer look outside for what you already hold within. You start to attract people and experiences that align with your authenticity because your energy speaks before you do. The right people recognize your vibration, not your appearance, not your effort, your essence. And that essence becomes radiant when you are at peace with who you are. Practice gratitude for where you are right now, even if it's not perfect. Gratitude opens the heart and aligns you with the frequency of abundance. You can't step into your higher self while resenting the present version of you. Love yourself through every stage. The confusion, the healing, the rebuilding. Every time you choose love over fear, calm over chaos, trust over doubt, you move closer to the person you are destined to be. Becoming the person you seek is a daily practice. It's in the way you speak to yourself, the way you handle challenges, the way you treat others, and the way you honor your boundaries. Every small act of self-love is a declaration to the universe that you are ready to receive what matches your worth. So stop looking outside for what can only be found within. The person you seek is already inside you, waiting for you to choose them, nurture them, and allow them to lead. When you become that person, you no longer chase love, peace, or purpose. You attract them effortlessly because you are finally aligned with your true self. And in that alignment, everything you've ever desired naturally finds its way to you.